Okay, so
Yeah.
today we're diving into something pretty fascinating.
Yeah, definitely.
It's all about how businesses are changing their models
Hmm.
to be more sustainable. We've all heard about the whole reduce, reuse, recycle thing,
Right.
but this goes way beyond that.
It does. It's really about a fundamental shift in
Yeah,
how we think about business and its relationship to the environment.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've got some really cool examples of companies who are leading the way.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Some really innovative stuff.
So we're calling this Deep Dive. New Circular Business Models. Innovation and Business Sustainability.
Catchy title?
Thanks. I thought so. It kind of gets right to the point,
It does.
which is what we like to do here. Get right into the good stuff.
Absolutely. Let's jump in.
Okay, so first up, let's talk about this idea of product as a service.
POT, as the cool kids call it.
Yeah, PA. It's like, have you ever thought about instead of buying something outright, you just subscribe to it?
It's a pretty interesting concept, right?
Yeah, like instead of owning a product,
Yeah. You're essentially paying for the benefit it provides.
right. It's like, I don't need to own a washing machine.
Exactly.
I just need clean clothes.
You just need the clean clothes outcome.
Exactly. So tell me how this actually works in the real world.
Well, there are companies already doing this really successfully. One example is Philips, the lighting company.
Oh yeah, I've heard of them.
They offer lighting as a service. So instead of selling light bulbs to businesses,
They just provide the lighting itself.
that's right. They handle everything. The installation, maintenance, upgrades, the whole shebang.
Wow, so the business doesn't have to worry about any of that.
Not at all. Philips takes care of it all. And it actually makes a lot of sense for them, too.
How so?
Well, because they own the bulbs, they're incentivized to make them last as long as possible.
Right, so they're not trying to sell you new bulbs every few months.
Exactly.
Yep.
They're focused on quality and durability, and it reduces waste because they're responsible for the whole life cycle of the product.
That's a really smart approach. I'm starting to see how this circular thing could really work.
And this model isn't just limited to light bulbs either. Car companies are getting in on the action too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Volvo, for example, offers car subscriptions. So instead of buying a car outright,
You just pay a monthly fee to use it.
exactly, you get access to a vehicle without all the hassles of ownership. Yeah.
Like the Netflix of cars.
I like that. The Netflix of cars. That's a good one.
And it makes sense. People are so used to subscriptions these days.
They are. It's become the norm for everything, from music to software.
So why not cars too? Or what about like really expensive high-end 3D printers?
Printers, yeah.
The technology changes so fast, you'd always want the latest model.
I see what you mean. It would make sense to have a subscription so you could always have access to the newest technology.
Right, without having to buy a whole new machine every time it gets updated.
Exactly. That's the beauty of PADAS. It challenges the idea of planned obsolescence.
Because companies are no longer incentivized to make products that break down quickly.
Right. They want to make products that last as long as possible because they're the ones maintaining them.
So it's a win-win for both the customer and the environment.
Absolutely. You get a better product and we put less strain on the planet's resources.
Okay, I'm definitely on board with this pious thing. What else do we have?
Let's move on to remanufacturing and refurbishment. This one's a bit more straightforward.
Okay, so basically giving products a second life.
Exactly. Companies take used products, completely break them down, replace any worn-out parts.
And then put them back together, good as new.
Yep, good as new.
Yep.
And they can sell these remanufactured products at a lower cost.
Which is great for the customer, and it helps reduce waste.
You got it. It's a win-win all around.
Are there any companies that are doing this really well?
Oh, tons. Caterpillar, the heavy equipment manufacturer.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them.
They have a massive remanufacturing program. They take back used bulldozers, excavators, all sorts of heavy machinery.
And they rebuild them to the original specs.
They do.
Yeah.
And sell them at a fraction of the price of new equipment.
Wow, that's impressive. What about on a smaller scale?
Well, Apple, of course. They're known for their refurbished iPhones and Macs.
Oh, yeah, their refurbs are super popular.
People love them. They get a high-quality product at a lower price, and it's better for the environment.
Now that you mention it, I think I've bought a refurbished laptop before.
Have you? How'd it work out?
It's still going strong. It was a great deal.
There you go. It's a smart way to consume.
I'm starting to think we should all be buying refurbished whenever we can.
I think it's a great idea. It just makes sense both economically and environmentally.
All right, let's talk about something that sounds even cooler. Upcycling and advanced recycling.
Now we're talking. This is where things get really creative.
So it's like recycling, but on another level.
It is. It's
And-
about taking waste materials and transforming them into something even better, something with higher value.
Give me some examples, because this sounds fascinating.
Well, you've probably seen those Adidas sneakers made from ocean plastic.
Oh yeah, those are pretty cool.
They're literally taking trash from the ocean and turning it into high-performance athletic wear.
It's amazing what they can do with recycled materials these days.
It is, and it's not just sportswear either. High fashion is getting in on the action too.
Really?
Yeah, Stella McCartney, for example. She's been using recycled and upcycled materials in her collections for years.
Wow, that's awesome. What kind of materials is she using?
Everything from recycled fishing nets to industrial waste. It's incredible what they're able to do.
High fashion from fishing nets. That's wild. I love that.
It's a whole new way of thinking about waste. It's no longer something to be discarded. It's a resource to be tapped into.
It's like turning trash into treasure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the materials themselves. It's about the creativity and innovation that goes into the process.
It's about seeing the potential in something that others might overlook.
I think that's a great way to put it. It's about changing our perspective and seeing waste as an opportunity.
Okay, so we've talked about upcycling. What about resale platforms?
Oh yeah, those are huge for the circular economy.
It seems like everyone's buying and selling things secondhand these days.
They are. It's become mainstream, and online platforms have made it easier than ever.
It's a great way to give products a second life and reduce the need for new production.
It is. And some big companies are starting to embrace this model too.
Like who?
Well, Patagonia, for one, they have their Worn Wear program.
Worn wear.
Yeah, they buy back used Patagonia clothing, fix it up, and resell it at a discount.
So they're basically creating their own secondhand market for their products.
They are. It's a brilliant way to keep their products in circulation and reduce their environmental footprint.
I like that. And it probably builds brand loyalty too.
Absolutely. People feel good about supporting a company that's taking sustainability seriously.
Any other big companies doing this?
IKEA's another one. They have buyback programs for their furniture.
Oh, wow. Furniture buyback. That's pretty interesting.
It is. They recognize that people's needs change over time, and they might not want to keep their furniture forever.
So they give you the option to sell it back instead of just throwing it away.
Right, and then they resell it in their stores at lower prices. It's a great way to keep those products out of the landfill.
It's also a huge logistical challenge, I imagine.
It is. Furniture is bulky and difficult to move, but they're making it work.
It just goes to show that with a little creativity and effort, even complex products can be incorporated into a circular model.
Absolutely. It's all about finding solutions and being willing to think outside the box.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of cool stuff so far. But how does technology fit into all of this?
Technology is a key enabler of the circular economy. It helps to make these models more efficient and scalable.
Give me some specifics. How is tech being used in this space?
Well, AI and the Internet of Things are being used to track products, optimize supply chains, and reduce waste.
So it's about using data and smart systems to make things run more smoothly.
Exactly. Take construction companies, for example. They're using something called digital twins.
Digital twins? What are those?
They're virtual replicas of physical buildings.
Oh, that's cool.
It is. They use them to plan projects more precisely, optimize material use, and minimize waste during construction.
So they're basically building the building virtually before they build it in the real world.
Exactly. It helps them to avoid mistakes, reduce waste, and save money.
And AI is being used in other industries too, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Retailers are using AI to analyze data from sensors to predict demand more accurately.
So they can avoid overproduction.
Exactly. Which means less waste and lower costs. It's a win-win.
Okay, this is all making a lot of sense. But let's shift gears for a moment to talk about something a little different.
Okay, what's that?
Regenerative agriculture and bioeconomy. It seems like a bit of a departure from the other models we've been discussing.
It is in a way,
Uh,
but it's still very much a part of the circular economy.
How so?
Well, it's about shifting from an extractive mindset to a regenerative one. It's about working with nature, not against it.
So instead of depleting resources, we're actually replenishing them.
Exactly. And this applies to how we produce food as well.
So it's about making our food system more sustainable.
That's right. We need to move away from intensive farming practices that degrade the soil and harm biodiversity.
And move towards more holistic practices that actually improve the health of the ecosystem.
Exactly. And a lot of companies are starting to do this.
Can you give me some examples?
Sure, Danone, the yogurt company, is implementing regenerative agriculture practices in their milk production.
Wow. So they're changing the way they source their ingredients.
They are. They're working with farmers to improve soil health, reduce their carbon footprint, and create a more resilient supply chain.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's not just big companies either.
Nope. Smaller producers are getting involved too.
Like who?
Well, coffee producers, for example, they're increasingly adopting agroforestry techniques.
What's that?
It involves growing coffee plants alongside trees and other crops.
So it's like creating a little forest ecosystem.
Kind of. It creates a richer, more biodiverse environment that's more resilient to pests and climate change.
That's really cool.
Mhm.
So it's about seeing the interconnectedness of everything.
Exactly. It's about understanding that our actions have consequences and that we need to work with nature, not against it.
This is all really inspiring. It's amazing to see how many different ways companies are approaching the circular economy.
It is. And it's just the beginning. There's so much potential for innovation and growth in this space.
I'm excited to see where it all goes from here.
You too. It's a really exciting time to be involved in sustainability. And it's really changing the way we think about sustainability, right?
Yeah, it's not about doing less anymore. It's about doing things differently. It's
Yeah.
about seeing sustainability as an opportunity, not a burden.
It is. It's about creating value, not just minimizing cost.
Exactly. So of all the models we've talked about so far, which one do you think has the biggest potential to really disrupt things and change the way we live?
Ooh, that's a tough one. There are so many exciting developments happening across the board, but if I had to pick just one,
Yeah.
I'd say biodegradability and biomaterials have the power to completely revolutionize how we interact with the world around us.
Because if we can create products that simply disappear after we're done with them,
Exactly.
the whole concept of waste goes away.
Imagine a world without landfills. No more plastic pollution in the oceans. Packaging that breaks down and nourishes the soil instead of piling up in mountains of trash.
That's a pretty amazing vision.
It is. It's a radical departure from the way things are now, but it's a goal worth striving for.
I'm totally on board with that vision. But let's be realistic for a minute. Are there challenges to making this happen? What are companies struggling with when they try to implement these circular models?
One of the biggest hurdles is infrastructure. We need systems in place to collect, sort, and process materials for reuse and recycling, and that takes investment.
Yeah, and collaboration across entire supply chains.
Absolutely. It's a complex issue.
And what about consumers? I'm sure there are challenges there too.
Definitely. We need to educate people about the benefits of circular products and services and encourage them to make more sustainable choices.
Right, it's one thing to design a great product, but it's another to get people to actually buy it and use it the right way.
Exactly. It's about changing habits and mindsets, which isn't easy.
So how can companies get consumers on board?
They need to find creative ways to communicate the value proposition of circularity. It's not just about being eco-friendly, it's also about quality, durability, and convenience.
It's got to be something that people actually want.
Exactly. It needs to make their lives better in some way.
Okay, so let's say a company is ready to embrace the circular economy. What are some practical steps they can take to get started?
The first step is to really analyze their current operations. Where are the biggest opportunities to reduce waste and optimize resource use?
So find the low-hanging fruit, so to speak.
Exactly. The areas where they can have the biggest impact with the least effort.
And then,
They need to think about how their products are designed. Can they use more durable materials? Can they design for disassembly and remanufacturing so that products can be easily taken apart and reused?
it's about thinking about the whole life cycle of the product.
From beginning to end, and then beginning again.
I like that. And it probably involves collaborating with other companies too, right?
Absolutely. Circularity often requires partnerships across different industries. Companies need to be open to working together to share resources, expertise, and infrastructure.
It's about seeing other companies not as competitors, but as potential allies.
Exactly. We're all in this together.
And what's the most important thing for companies to remember on this journey?
Patience shifting to a circular model is a process, not an overnight transformation. It takes time, experimentation, and a commitment to continuous improvement.
Got it. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. But the payoff is worth it.
Okay, so we've been focusing on companies, but what about individuals? What can we do in our daily lives to support the circular economy?
There's so much we can all do. First and foremost, be mindful of what you buy and how you use it. Choose durable products that are designed to last.
So quality over quantity.
Exactly. And when you can choose refurbished or pre-owned items, you'll save money and lessen your environmental impact.
And there are so many options for doing that these days. Online platforms, thrift stores, consignment shops.
It's easier than ever to give products a second life.
And don't forget about repairing things.
Oh, that's a big one. Before you toss something out, see if you can fix it.
Sometimes it's easier than you think.
It is. There are tons of resources online and in your community to help you repair things yourself.
And it's a great way to save money and keep things out of the landfill.
Definitely. And of course, the basics still matter. Recycle and compost properly.
Right. Make sure you're following your local guidelines.
Absolutely. It makes a big difference.
So we've talked about reducing our consumption, reusing items, recycling, composting. But what about actively supporting businesses that are embracing the circular economy? How can we make sure our money is going to the right places?
That's a great point. Do your research. Look for companies that are transparent about their sustainability practices and are actively incorporating circular models into their business.
So it's about being an informed consumer.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to reach out to companies and let them know that sustainability is important to you.
Yeah, it's about using our voices and our wallets to drive change.
Absolutely. The more companies hear from their customers, the faster this transition will happen.
It's about collective action.
Exactly. We're all in this together.
You know, we've talked a lot about practical steps, but at the end of the day, this is really about a shift in mindset, isn't it?
It is. It's about moving away from a linear take, make, waste mindset and embracing a more cyclical, regenerative way of thinking.
It's about seeing the interconnectedness of everything.
And understanding that our choices have consequences.
It's about seeing the world as a continuous loop, not a straight line with an endpoint.
You got it. And realizing that waste is not an inevitability, it's a design flaw that we can fix.
I love that. It's a problem to be solved.
Exactly. And it's a problem that we can all be a part of solving.
It's about taking responsibility for our impact.
And making conscious decisions that support a circular economy.
That's a powerful message.
And an important one. It's not about feeling overwhelmed or guilty. It's about feeling empowered to make a difference.
I like that. It's about taking action.
Even small changes can have a ripple effect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the circular economy, from product design to consumer behavior to the very nature of waste.
It's been a pretty comprehensive deep dive.
It has, but I feel like we've only scratched the surface.
There's always more to learn. This is a field that's constantly evolving. New technologies are emerging, new business models are being developed, and consumer awareness is growing.
It's an exciting time to be alive.
It is. It feels like we're on the verge of a real paradigm shift.
And that's what I want to leave our listeners with today. This isn't just a passing trend. It's a fundamental transformation that's already happening.
And it's up to all of us to be a part of it.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a question to ponder.
Okay, I love a good thought-provoking question.
We've talked a lot about the environmental benefits of the circular economy, but what about the social and economic benefits? How can we make sure that this transition is fair and equitable for everyone?
That's a great question. It's something we need to think about carefully.
Mm-hmm.
We need to make sure that the benefits of the circular economy are shared widely.
And that they don't just benefit a select few.
Exactly. It should create opportunities and prosperity for everyone.
It's interesting, you know, we talk about the circular economy on this like big global scale,
Yeah.
all these huge systemic changes,
Right.
but it's easy to forget that it all comes down to individual actions too.
It does. I mean, that's where it all starts, really.
Right. So I'm curious, what's one small change you've made in your own life to be more circular? Something that's really working for you.
Well, for me, I've been focusing a lot on reducing food waste. I used to be terrible about it.
Me too.
But now I plan my meals more carefully, use leftovers creatively, and compost everything I can.
Oh yeah, composting is a game changer.
It really is. It's amazing how much we were throwing away before.
I know. It's kind of embarrassing when you think about it.
It is. But the good news is it's something we can all easily address.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you? Any small changes you've made that you're liking?
I've been trying to be more mindful of the clothes I buy.
Oh, me too.
I'm buying fewer items overall, but I'm choosing higher quality pieces that are made to last.
Yeah, and that's important because fast fashion is a huge problem.
It is. It's so unsustainable.
Plus, I feel like when you invest in quality pieces, they actually bring you more joy.
I agree. It's about having a few things you really love instead of a closet full of clothes you never wear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just about buying new things either. I've been trying to shop secondhand more often.
Oh, yeah, that's great. There are so many amazing finds out there.
I know. And it feels good to give those items a second life.
It does, and it reduces our impact on the planet.
So it's really all about making conscious choices in every aspect of our lives.
That's it. And remembering that even small actions can make a difference.
Right, especially when we all do them together.
Exactly. It creates a ripple effect.
It's like that saying, be the change you want to see in the world.
Gandhi, I think?
Yeah, pretty sure it was Gandhi. But the point is, it's true. Even small changes, when multiplied by millions of people, can have a huge impact.
They can. They really can.
Okay, so I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about today.
We have. It's been a great conversation.
It has. We've explored so many different aspects of the circular economy, from those really innovative business models to all the practical steps we can take in our own lives.
And hopefully we've inspired people to take action.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Because the circular economy isn't just about reducing our negative impact, it's about creating a positive vision for the future.
A future where sustainability is just the way things are done.
And I think that's really exciting.
It is. It's about abundance and resilience and regeneration. It's about building a world that works in harmony with nature, not against it.
And ultimately, it's about creating a more just and equitable world for everyone.
Yeah, that's the big picture. That's what we're striving for.
So here's a question for our listeners. What's one small change you can make today to support a more circular way of life?
That's a good one.
Maybe you're trying out a new sharing platform.
Or supporting a local business that's embracing circularity.
Or just being more mindful of the things you buy and use.
Every little bit helps.
It does. It all adds up. So remember, the future is circular. Let's build it together.
I love that.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the circular economy. We'll see you next time for another insightful exploration of a topic that matters.
Until then, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep making a difference.